What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Hellblade 2 and the previews that we got on the game today. Now, funny story, actually, behind the scenes, there was kind of this lead-up of kind of people upset that, Hellblade hasn't really shown much of itself, and, the game releases next month. I recorded a video on the silence of Hellblade, and then this happened. So, we can just throw that video away and move on to this. Honestly, I'm very happy with what we saw in the previews, what we heard, whether it's the 5,000 Twitter profiles, right, doing the dash system of all the new info we learned on the game. The game looks really good. The game sounds really good. It sounds like it kind of is playing something safe, and I want to kind of focus on some of those elements in this video. I know the big one is the cap of 30 frames, right? Let me say something, okay? I am not going to get too mad at Hellblade 2 for this. I actually think for a game like this, it would be less noticeable than some other type of game. I will make a general statement, though. This is just another problem with the console generation we're in, right? Look, if they're going to push technology, which is really what they've pushed, and so far we have been in the era or this generation, it has been more pushed by technology and power than it really has, I think, innovation with creativity in games, right? That's been long gone for many years. So just to throw it out there, I think it's just a problem in the industry. I think the 30 frames thing, we should get 60 more often. It obviously doesn't happen. I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes or give Hellblade 2, a 6 out of 10 because of the frame rate. It is a game industry problem. I guess it is a Hellblade 2 problem. But for me and for this game specifically, it's not too big of a deal. We'll see. Ultimately, it could be a big deal. So I guess I'm saying that just from, we're looking at the game 2 months before. I think the game's going to be good. I think the game's going to perform fine, okay? And I believe the cap is only on console. So if you get the thing on PC, I'm sure you could probably finagle, and get around that. But in terms of what we saw, well, visually is the first thing that maybe catches you, when you look at a game like this. We heard a lot of things today that kind of all said the same thing. This looks like a truly next-gen game, which when you counter with the 30 frames is kind of funny, but next-gen looking game. And it does. Honestly, every time we looked at it or saw it, when it showed up at the Game Awards, right? I think it's shown up at the Game Awards 2 or 3 times, but the time that they did like that 8-minute gameplay, snippet of it, the game looks unbelievable. And it really does look like one of, if not the best looking games, out there, focusing on the realism, right? It's a realistic kind of art style, but I think it looks super good. And look, some of the things that made the first game so good with how they did the audio, bounce the voices. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it as we get closer. Hellblade 1 is a game that requires and makes you wear headphones to get the full experience. And I think it is a phenomenal... I really love the game, firstly, but I think it is one of the better experiences you're going to get with headphones. I'm actually not a headphone user at all. I almost never wear headphones, like literally ever. That is one that it's a requirement for me. I will do it, and I'm going to enjoy it. So I'm going to do that for Hellblade 2 as well. The visuals, I think, are going to help that because, that's the focus, I really believe, right? That realistic nature or that realistic tone or feel or whatever, that's where this game is going to shine. Where the first game didn't shine was in gameplay, or combat, I should say, right? Now, this game, this is why I said in the beginning of the video, some things feel a little too safe to me, just kind of as an onlooker. 2 things I wanted to shout out and kind of talk about in this video. We heard about combat and we heard about puzzles. Now, it sounds like puzzles are very similar to the first game, and I watched an IGN one that said like they weren't like a big fan of kind of reusing it, and there was kind of a lack of diversity in like the puzzle mechanics. We'll see how the full game does. I believe they played 45 minutes, right? And the game itself is only going to be 5, 6, 7 hours. So they got to play like 15 or so percent of the game, maybe a give or take 5%. So it could change. It definitely could change. I don't know if they got even to play the beginning or if they were kind of transported somewhere in the middle, but 45 minutes. They talk about the puzzles. I saw a lot about the combat. You can also look at the combat. Okay, honestly, I'm a fan. Like, combat is not the game's strong suit. And I guess I would say that for either one, right? It's not Hellblade 1's strong suit. It's not Hellblade 2. How visceral, I guess it is, really impresses me. And there's like that clip being shown around where it's kind of one battle after the next, right? And it mixes cinematics with just, actual gameplay. So you're striking at an enemy, and then an enemy comes and like punches you in the face, and suddenly you're facing them. And then there's like the flame attack thing, right? And then you fight that enemy. I like that quite a bit, and what we heard is that like the sword is going to feel heavy and the strikes are going to have like intent behind them, right? They motion captured every single fight in the entire game and multiple iterations of fights. So you're going to hopefully get to see new moves or kind of like new body positions, right? Basically for the swing. Again, like fighting isn't the game's thing. You're going to do it, but it's not like the main draw. Honestly, for a game like this, I feel like it's kind of cut and dry why you would go into it. If you're going into it for like the greatest third-person hack and slash, that you've ever played in your life, you're in the wrong place. You know what I mean? And I think that's fine. I think what this game is going to do well, it's going to do really well. And I think that's the general thing we heard from the previews is if you what you liked about Hellblade and what they did well, they've improved. Technology has helped them improve as well, right? And they have focused on some of the weaknesses. Now, some of the weaknesses feel more like, we heard this a lot today, refinements instead of like completely new things in general, right? Now, honestly, that's not the biggest deal to me. What I really liked in the first game seems to have been improved, and I'm looking forward to that. And then even if you kind of bring up the dead weight, right? You kind of move it up a little bit, I think it's going to overall be a really good game. I've said it before, I think it could be in the running for Game of the Year. Now, whenever I freaking say Game of the Year, you have everybody, all upset at me, in the comments. It's my own. I don't care what Jeff Keighley says. I don't care what IGN says. Mine, okay? This game has always, to me, looked like I could be talking about how much I love it at the end of the year. And I've said that for like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Heck, I'm actually saying it for, say, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. I still believe that right now. I think Hellblade 2 has something about it that I might, maybe not, but I might, at the end of the year saying, yeah, this is a Game of the Year contender for me. Again, I don't care about the journalists and what they say it is. It's about my opinion on my channel here. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. As I've said before, like I'm going to be covering this game quite a bit. So this lead up to release, there'll be plenty of videos if you guys are interested. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.